welcome back. The overall number of deaths in the South African mining industry has declined over the past years. Between 1984 and 2005, more than 11,000 mine workers died. The 2021-2022 data shows a 34% reduction in fatalities. Let's discuss these numbers with David Msiza, Chief Inspector of Mines at the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, joins us now. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Such encouraging figures. Can you just tell us a little bit of the comparison between some of the previous years and these figures so that we know exactly how many deaths we are looking at?
No, good evening, and also good evening to the viewers, and thank you for the opportunity that we've been granted to engage with yourselves. Yes, indeed. Today, ourselves being led by the Minister, and also we also had a part of the engagements, stakeholders from organized business and organized labor. We're basically reflecting on the health and safety performance of the sector between 2021 and 2022. But what we've also done, we've looked at the past, where we come from, more specifically because we were also marking the 25th anniversary of the Mine Health and Safety Act. Now, to respond to your question, for instance, in 1993, we used to have 615 fatalities in the sector, which have come down last year to 49, which is it's a record for the sector. But we always say that we want to achieve the goal of zero harm in the sector. The other thing that I also would like to highlight is that we've been almost every year been experiencing what we call the mine disasters. Mine disaster is one single accident that leads to 5 or more people losing their lives. So for the last 4 years, we have not experienced one for us, which is encouraging. And we were saying to the sector that we must keep it up. And also the other thing which is remarkable that we must also highlight is the fact that we've seen a significant reduction in fall of ground accidents, because historically, if you look at the mining sector, most of the fatalities was a result of fall of ground accidents, both rock falls and rock bursts. But we almost went the full year last year without an FOG accident. In fact, we had a 73% improvement on FOG accidents or fall of ground accidents. And also we went the full year without machinery-related fatalities, which is also encouraging to us. On all these fatalities, we've seen most of the improvement in the gold sector with 50%, the coal sector with 40%. The other mines with 23%, and the platinum group metals with 14%. We didn't only look at safety, we looked at health, because over the years, health was not given the necessary attention, but we could demonstrate through the figures that there's also been significant improvement in terms of the occupational diseases, including pulmonary TB and silicosis in the mining sector. So we have not yet arrived. Our goal is zero harm. What we mean by that is that we should be having zero deaths in the sector. So we've agreed with the sector on the measures that we have to embark upon to improve on those challenges that are still remaining.
I love that, zero harm being the goal. And we're going to get to those occupational health issues, the diseases, in just a moment. I want to concentrate firstly on what you think this massive reduction can be attributed to. We know that the Khumbula strategy has been implemented, but just break that down for a little bit for lay people, what that means in the mining sector.
Before I come to the Khumbula, what we've been doing as a sector, we have said that we can compete on anything, but not on the health and safety measures. So we've agreed that we must share in terms of leading practice. In other words, there are mines that are doing extremely well in certain facets, including adoption of leading technology or leading practices, or that have enhanced health and safety in the sector. So we've engaged the Minerals Council because most of their members, they own the bigger mines in the sector, to say we must come up with measures to make sure that there's health and safety improvement. Hence, they came up with Khumbula. But what we've done as a sector, ourselves as a state, organized labor and employers, we met in late 2021 through a mindset conference where the minister led us in engaging on the challenges, because we were worried at that time that we were seeing that the fatalities are happening relentlessly. So we came together to say, what more can we do? We've looked at technology that we can implement. We've also looked at the issue of culture, because we've been worried that some of the cultures that we've identified in some of the mines were not optimal in terms of what we want to achieve. What I mean by culture as well, one of the factors that we've looked at is the issue of leadership. In other words, from the top, from the board, the executives, including the CEO, are they leading by examples in the sector to improve health and safety? And the workers themselves, are they being allowed to exercise their right to withdraw from dangerous occurrence? Because in the past, it has been an issue. So we've agreed on some of those aspects. We've agreed, as I've indicated, on technology, because we've seen that transport-related accidents as well have been a serious problem in the sector. So we've looked at the collision avoidance systems that some of the mines have been implementing. And we believe that the implementation of those has helped those mines, and they are also going to help the other mines in improving the transport-related incidents. That's why we had to legislate for the mines to also to implement those measures. So I think it has been a collaborative effort. Firstly, we are the regulators. We continuously enforce the law through monitoring the mines, but we don't focus on that. We focus more on collaboration, and we do that through what we call the Mine Health and Safety Council, which is a government entity where we do research and we come up with measures to enhance health and safety in the sector.
Let's talk quickly about those occupational diseases. You said a reduction of pulmonary issues and TB. We know during COVID-19 we saw an underreporting of health issues. That was right through the health sector. How do you think that affected numbers in mining specifically, and what have you seen post-COVID in terms of a return to good practice where employee health is concerned?
In terms of COVID, yes, indeed, COVID has also affected the health matters in the sector, more specifically when we were to deal with TB programs, because we must highlight the fact that between 2020 and 2021, we as a sector have been focusing on ensuring that we mitigate the impact, because as you know, it has affected the entire world, including our economy and the mining sector. We came up with progressive measures, including encouraging that there should be an uptake of vaccination. And in the sector, up to now, there's been more than 75% of the mine workers who've been vaccinated. And also, those mines that have achieved 80%, they've also assisted the neighboring communities. Now, it has partly affected the occupational health programs, especially with the TB ones, but we've agreed in the sector that we must embark on the programs that we've agreed upon through the Mine Health and Safety Council. One of them is to ensure that we adopt the 90-90-90 principle. What we mean by that, we've aligned our strategies with the national strategic plan strategies that government have been focusing on TB and HIV and AIDS. We have said that 90% of the workforce must be cancelled, 90% of them must be screened, and for those who need help, 90% of those that request help or treatment must be provided with them. So we've seen with the trends, more specifically in TB, that the sector has achieved 91%, which is encouraging with TB, and they've also achieved 100%, in fact, more than 100% in terms of the treatment. Where we are not at those levels yet is the issue of HIV. Currently, the sector have cancelled about 66%, but we have only tested 73%. So we are not yet at 90% where we want to be. So I think it's something that we constantly have to work on as a sector to improve on.
As we reflect on numbers and celebrate the good numbers that we've achieved recently, we should also reflect on disasters of the past. And as we approach the 7th anniversary of the Lily mine disaster, I would be remiss if I did not ask you for an update on that situation. To date, that container is still underground. The remains of 3 mine workers still within that container. And if I have it right, the families of Yvonne Mnisi, Pratik Nkambule and Solomon Nyerende still camping outside the Lily mine gates, waiting for some sense of closure. Is the department making any progress? Because this is to do inherently with safety issues and with providing those within the mining sector with some sense of closure for the colleagues and for the rest of the industry who are no doubt watching this issue very closely as we approach that commemoration.
No, sir, thank you for that question. Indeed, it is a regrettable incident that we experience in the sector. And I think it's one of the first of its kind. And also, it's a painful thing to the families, and not only the families and the mine workers who used to get employment in the communities who also depended on those particular 2 months. Yes, indeed, as a department, there have been measures that we've been putting in place to ensure that there must be finalization of the business rescue process at a particular mine. In fact, we had to even write to the mother company of Vantage Gold, and they were going to start mining, but however, there's been challenges in terms of legal actions that are taking place through the BRP process. We had meetings with the BRPs, and we also have meetings with the interested parties so that they must finalize the legal challenges. In fact, we have also suggested to them, those parties, that where possible, why can't they also consider working together so that we can start the operations? Because our focus, we've agreed that it should be on the recovery of the trapped mine workers. Yes, it's still a great concern for us, but we do respect the legal processes that are still ensuing. But we hope that they are being finalized as soon as possible, so that we can continue with the process of the recovery.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to bring us those encouraging figures this evening. David Msiza, Chief Inspector of Mines, giving us some good news about a reduction in fatalities at mines.